Good evening, everyone. It's a Thursday night, about 20 minutes of 8. I haven't done a video for a little while on this build. I haven't felt too good 4 or 5 days. I haven't hardly left the house since Monday. So if I sneeze, cough, or my voice sounds funny, it's because I don't feel that great. I've actually probably done a few steps in this build without videoing it because I really didn't feel like it. I just did a few minutes at a time, and I might do 10 minutes and then go sit down or go take a nap or something. So this has been a slow week. But I'll update you on what I've done. As you can see, I completed the chassis, and I decided to not leave it just brass. What I've done is I've sprayed it with automotive red oxide primer, and then I've clear coated that. So that's what I've decided to go with the chassis. I still haven't started painting the body. I do have it primered and prepped for paint. I'm pretty apprehensive about doing the airbrushing. I've never done it before. I've got a nice setup, and I want to make sure I do it right, and I want to make sure I know how to clean the gun. So I'm taking my time. I want to be prepared. So that's where we are with that. So what I thought I would do tonight is slide this stuff in. I'm not going to put the motor or the gear in. I'm just going to put the wheels in and see if I can get my guide set. Once I get the guide set, the next step after that is positioning the motor and wiring the motor to the guide, which is a pretty simple process. I will do that. I'll do that on camera because it's a different soldering procedure than soldering brass. So I want to try and show you and explain the differences in that. Yeah, don't feel that great this week. I'll get over it. A little sinus issue and some coughing. My wife had it first, and then I got it. I didn't even play ball this week. Usually I play ball at least twice a week. Didn't play at all. Just hung around the house, watched movies and YouTube. I spend a lot of time watching YouTube stuff. I'm going to have to put some small spacers in here for the final setup. I just need to get a little guideline here. Okay, now I've got two different guides. I forget what specific guide this is. I can't see the name on it. But this is the one that comes with the slot car corner 1/25th scale brass chassis kit. And it's a good guide, and it works well. I've used it on quite a few of my builds. I've also used this slot invasion guide, which I don't know, I just like the way the car runs a little bit better with this. I don't know if it's less drag, or I can't explain to you why. The car just seems to run a little bit better with this guide. Seems to handle better. But it's a little more fiddly to set up there's more steps to setting it up. So I haven't made a decision yet. We'll see where I end up. I was heading somewhere else with that conversation also, and I forgot what it was. Imagine that. I've got spacers. I have metal spacers. They're aluminum. I have plastic spacers. I've also cut brass tubing spacers, which I've used on a number of builds. Some soldered in place, some not. I don't think it's always necessary to solder that in place. Oh, one thing I wanted to tell you about the slot invasion guide. You really need a specific one. Slot invasion makes a number of different guides for different applications. This is I believe they call it the BRM or wood track guide. And it has here's my magnets having fun over here. They like to play with everything. The guide that I use, see this larger space here? A lot of the slot invasion guides are only like that wide. The post to here is only like that much. So you don't have room when you insert it in here. See how you need that room? So it's a specific guide. I believe it's BRM or wood track guide is the slot invasion description for this one. Pardon me for sniffling and shit. See? Fits right on there nice. Okay, what I would do with this, I can see the distance from the bottom, from the top of the guide to the top of the post, right? And that's like halfway. So I will want to bring this up so that I can get these front tires barely touching the track. So I will need to space this. So I cut this piece of brass tubing. Let's see how that works. That's pretty high. I may have to take some more off of that. You see that? See how that got those, can you see those tires spinning? So now the front tires are off the track. But they're off the track too much. That's too much space. Let's see if I can show you. Try not to upset the apple cart here. Can you see that space? Hard to see. These cameras aren't that good. It's a good 1/8 of an inch. 1/16 of an 1/8 that those tires are off of the track. I almost dropped that. So I need to either trim my brass collar, which is once you get down to this size, it's hard to do. But I can probably, with my bench grinder, I can probably take some more off of that. But you see, there's quite a few things that you can do to adjust your guide ride height. And that's actually my favorite way. But that's too far. That's too much. All right. So let's check out this other guide. Both guides, they also have a different way of setting up brushes. The black guide comes with brushes that, well, I'll show you what they come with. They come with a copper tab on them. And they're actually probably the easiest way to add brushes to a guide I've ever seen. You have this brass tab here. And just slide that in like so, right? Might have to push it in a little bit with a screwdriver or a file or something, but that's the idea. You push that in, and then you solder your wire, strip the end of your wire, and you solder it to this tab that you see sticking through there, right there. So it's very good way. It's excellent design, I think, of how to mount your braid. The slot invasion is a little more involved. I just use plain flat brass braid, and I put a ferrule on the wire, put a ferrule on the end of the wire here. I tuck the braid up from underneath, and I stick the ferrule in, right, with the stripped wire. If it's a nice, tight, secure, if you're comfortable with it, you can leave it like that. But a lot of times I will drill a hole here. I'll drill a hole right there, and right there. A little tiny, I don't know, 2 millimeter. And just thread it and put a 2 mil grub screw in to contact that ferrule, and those will never pull out. You can stand on it and they won't come out. So that's a couple of ways to do it. I'm sure there are other ways. Medicinal purposes only. So now with this one, I still need some space in there. That's the one we just did, right? We already did that one. So now we're on to this one. Not enough medicine. Okay, so that one goes that way. So this one goes on there. Now this comes with this big ass nut, which I'm not a fan of. But I haven't found anything that works any better yet. I think that's the worst design part of this. But as you can see, I'm not going to need as big a spacer, I don't think. And this tubing is too small to fit over that. And you're limited on space right here. Same deal as the other one. You have to be able to have something that fits in there to space it out. I bought a package of, well, I'll show you. I bought a package of nylon nuts, screws, washers, what have you. Has various size items that I thought would come in handy, and I have used them on several occasions. They're good for body mounts. They're good for applications like this when you need something that may be a little off-sized. I don't know, it was like $4.99 or something on the Jungle website. So I can see already this nut that I pulled out would be I think would be almost the perfect size spacer. But it's not going to fit over that head. I'm not sure if there's anything else in there that would probably fit over, but would be too big. That would be perfect. It was a little bit bigger. These, I think, are too big, too deep. Well, look at that. That might be a good choice to lock that guy down better than this thing. I'll have to give that some thought. That's interesting. And there are some of these washers, they're pretty good thickness. Let me see if I stack a couple of them up. Get a pair of tweezers to make it easier to get stuff out of there. Excuse me. A lot of grunting and groaning going on here. That's a thin one. Get a little thicker one here. I can probably get this done with the things that I have here. See that? That's almost perfect. See that? If I just put a little pressure on them, they're touching. If I take the pressure off, they spin. That's perfect, actually. Spent a lot of money on this, fellas. Tons of money. Okay. Perfect, right? Don't you think? Cilantro. Okay, another issue with the black guide is it sticks out in the front. See this? It's going to be more exposed, which is one of the reasons I started using the slot invasion guide, to get away from that. So let's put the slot invasion guide back in there and see the difference. I'll put the body back on. See that? It's by the time you put the chrome bumper on, the guide is behind the bumper. You're not even going to see the front of the guide. Where with the black one, you would probably see at least 1/8 of an inch of the black guide. We'll swap them again. Okay, see that? Now, if you put, can you see the black guide? It's probably very hard to see. All right, let's do this. That is hard to see. I'm an idiot. Sorry, fellas. I have this other setup plate. This would probably be more visible. Okay. Oh yeah, there you go. Now see how the black guide is out front here, right? Even with the bumper, you're gonna see the braids going in here, right? It's gonna be quite visible. That's the slot invasion guide. You do that setup, put that on. By the time you get the bumper on, you can't even see that now, can you? Can you see the red? I can see it because I'm right here, and that's how it is. See, I can't, if I'm up above that, I can't see the slot invasion guide tip at all. So when you put the bumper on, you're never going to see that. That's the main reason I like the slot invasion guide. Any thoughts on that? Please bloop it down in the comments. And remind me that when I'm trying to show something, this is probably a better setup block to use than the black one. But I'm a dope, so. So my next step will be to install my motor, which something else I'll show you that I did this week. One of my 10-minute jobs, that's what I did. I did stages of 10-minute jobs. Is I've installed my crown gear and cut the shaft off here because when you put the motor in, if you don't cut that shaft off, it interferes with the grub screw on the crown gear. So I mount my pinion, usually stick it in here, mount my crown gear on my axle, and determine how much further on I have to put the pinion, and then cut the end off of the shaft so it doesn't hit this. So what I will do next is install my motor with my crown gear, get that all lined up, and like I said, I'll have to add a couple of spacers, maybe one on each side here, maybe a little more. I have metal, aluminum spacers, and I have plastic spacers. What I like to do is, the aluminum ones are very, very fine. I don't know the exact gauge, but they're very fine. I like to place them closest to where the bushing is, and then add my plastic ones to the outside, front and rear, because I feel that you get less resistance with the aluminum on the bushing than you do with the plastic. So I'll do that, set my motor, set my guide, solder my wires to my motor, solder my wires to the guide after I install the brushes, and then I will have a running chassis. So I can do some test laps with it and see if everything runs good, and then move on to finishing up the body and mounting that. I'm trying to think if I missed anything. Pretty good up to date, I guess, with what I'm doing right now. I will try to remember to do a video as I'm doing the wiring for the motor, doing the ferrule setup for the guide. I guess that's it for tonight, fellas. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below, there in the bottom, the bottom of the video, down here somewhere. Please like and subscribe if you like the video. Yeah, definitely hit the like button. I guess that's it for tonight. Yeah, we'll call it a night. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Greg from Clearwater 124 signing off.